Welcome to the 12th episode of the MC Knitting Adventures podcast. My name's Colleen.
And my name is May. Welcome back to the returning viewers, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Today our adventure took us all the way to Paris, Ontario. And before we do that though, Colleen will be talking about what we are wearing.
So I'm first of all going to talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Easy Shawl, or Shawl Facile, by Emilie Maréchal. And it is a lovely, easy garter shawl. And I used one skein of Cascade Heritage Wave. And the color that this is number 504, and it's called Nightshade. Now, it is an extended triangle, so I had to wrap it around a couple of times. But the reason why I did this was I was trying to find a shawl that would be easy enough for my niece Meredith to do. And I took out some yarn for her and got her started, and she is loving the knit. So if you've got anybody who's brand new to knitting, I would recommend this shawl. Now, as far as May goes, this is something that we know. This is her Anguli Cowl by Hilary Smith Callis. I'm just going to hold that up so you see that. And you can do it with two different color yarns, or you can do like I did, which is just one color yarn. And this is Wisdom Yarns Naked Sock, so there's no wool in it. And this is the Bright Spot colorway.
Now, is this self-striping yarn? Self-striping?
I think if you were to make a sock, it might be. Oh. But I've not made socks out of it, but I think those would be great socks.
I like that as a cow. You did a great job.
I know.
Thank you so much. And yours looks amazing, too. I love that gradient colors in that.
I know. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, and I really like what that color is on you. I know sometimes you think black is too harsh, and this just would lighten up something if you had a black jacket or anything. It looks great over the white. Thanks. Now, while we're talking about Hilary Smith Callis, I just want to remind everybody that we are in the process of having our Hilary Smith Callis knit along. Sorry, Hilary Smith Callis Cal, which sounds a little funny, but it's what we're doing. So the idea is it started on the 11th of May. It's going to go till the 15th of June, and then we're going to close it at midnight on the 15th of June. You can knit anything that is a Hilary Smith Callis pattern. So there are sweaters, there are cowls, there are scarves. Here's just a few. There's a Cerus scarf. There is a Candlestick baby sweater. There is this beautiful shawl that's called Euclidean. It's a bit of a bigger project. And then here's the Aeque cowl, which I've also knit for May. So you've got all kinds of options to pick. We'd love you to get involved. There's a chatter thread on Ravelry. There is a finished objects thread where there's no chatter but posting. We've already got a couple of people that have got their pictures in. I'm so excited about that.
That'll be fantastic. Now there is a prize.
There is a prize.
This is wonderful. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. So it is a lovely project bag, about a medium size, so you could probably fit 2 skeins in there. So it's lined, it's got some polka dot, it's got some interfacing so that it's nice and stiff. You could turn it over and make it like a bucket. But that is the prize that you can possibly win if you enter into our knit along. So we hope that you'll join us in that. I knit this as part of the knit along. I don't get to enter, but it's okay. May got to enjoy having that scarf. And that was the one that I knit on the plane when I headed out to Calgary to visit my brother. Yeah. And I used wooden needles, no problem. I could knit easily peasily. So that was good. Great. So that's what we're wearing. That's our talk about our knit along, which I'll mention again a little later. And now we're going to talk about finished objects. My first finished object is a pair of socks. And I was working on these last time we podcasted. And this is, it kind of is a smash of 2 patterns. So we have Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is a free pattern on Ravelry by Lueder. And I decided to try this toe from the Drippity Drop Sock by Kay Jones. And she's one of the Bakery Bears. So that, I love the colors in the sock. This is opal sock yarn, but it has 38% wool, 32% polyamide, which is nylon, and then 30% cotton. And they turned out really, really nice. I love the texture of these socks. They feel really good on my feet. So I have the same size of feet as somebody else that I need to knit socks for, so I may hold on to them for that person. We're going to see what we're going to do, but I'm really pleased with how they turned out because I wanted to try a different sock pattern.
A very different texture on these ones as to what you used to do.
Yeah, and I really like how they came out, and the texture offers a little bit like almost like you're doing a ribbing, and it helps a lot when you're doing that.
Turned out fantastic. Wonderful job on those.
So that's the first. The second one I started to knit when I was out in Calgary, and this is a pair of socks. And the reason why I started doing that was because I didn't have any more patterns and out with me, and I thought, okay, I think I know the pattern pretty much off by heart, and I knew what yarn I wanted. So what I did was I picked up some heritage prints. This is number 58. And I thought, I'm just going to start making a sock. Doesn't matter who it's for.
Right.
And I'll figure it out once I get home. So the good news is I got a lot done. So it's Katy Lou's sock pattern. It's by Dragonpine Designs.
And you've done this before?
I've done this before. So I've done it enough that I kind of knew what the pattern was. So I started with the 2x2 ribbing, and then I did 6x2 ribbing, and then I just kept carrying on. And I did a pretty good job of them. So they are finished. They are for somebody whose birthday is later in the year. And that's okay, because now I can tuck them away and they'll be done, because sometimes you don't have time to knit when you need to get things done. So I'm really happy they turned out the way they did. They're not quite matching, they're pretty close, but the colors are really nice, and I really think they're going to fit the person who they're for pretty well.
That'll be great. Now, what do you call that when you have knitters and you knit things for people and you put them away? Is there a name for that, or is it just...
You know what? I don't think it is. I just think it's what knitters do.
And then you put stuff, and then you can just go to your little, little...
It's kind of like an
Mary Poppins bag. You pull out something that's voila.
Exactly. I think that's exactly right. Yeah. So that's there. Now, the other thing that I have is a shawl, and I'm going to ask May to put in some pictures right here. And I want to talk to you about the fact that this shawl was a skinny, a slim merino is what it's called. The yarn is the National Parks colorway. This is Aeque from, let me see, Northwest Territories. So Aeque from Northwest Territories. And I loved it. And when I knitted, it was kind of all curly. So you will have seen in the pictures the difference between it then, and you saw the blocking, and now you're going to see it finished.
This is it blocked?
This is it blocked, and it blocked beautifully.
Wow. It's very fine. It's lovely. It's something beautiful. That you could wear in the springtime.
Absolutely.
It's so fine.
Exactly. And what I really like about this, if you can hold that up, that would be great. This is the Zilver shawl, and it's by Lisa Mutch. And even though the yarn has quite the pattern to it, when I blocked it, it opened up the pattern and the texture, and it really comes out nicely, and I can hardly wait to wear this. And I'm hoping there's a cool summer evening and I'll be able to wear that.
I might change my style.
Oh, I think this would look great on you. Absolutely.
That feels very nice. Very
yes.
Like
so I'm really thrilled.
Yes.
And we had talked in earlier episodes about blocking and the importance. And I really think it's like a one ply, a yarn. When you block it, it's really, really important, and it just opens it up. Sometimes they talk about the yarn blooming, and this is what it did. It opened the lacework up, and it just did a really nice job, and I'm really happy how it finished.
Very different scarf after you blocked it. So.
Absolutely. So that's my finished objects, and now it's time for me to talk about her finished object.
Yes, well, here we have another painting. I won't talk too much about it, but we took this, we actually went on vacation up to Northern Ontario, up to Tobermory, and a friend of ours had a cottage up there. And there was a bunch of us, and this was an evening shot that I took a photograph of, and I decided to come home and paint it. It was so lovely. And so this is the finished project here. That's just what it looked like in the evening.
Exactly.
It was
really
great
does.
down by the dock, and we did some kayaking, and that was a great day.
Exactly.
So that's a reminder of that.
Yeah,
so.
And May, you do such a nice job when you paint. So I
thank
really,
you.
really
You're so
like
kind.
them. Well, I'm telling you the truth, so it's good. So that's our finished objects. And next we're going to talk about works in progress. My first work in progress is a cowl. It's called the Sidestepping Cowl, and it's by Laura Andersson, and it's a free pattern that I got when I purchased the yarn at the Wool and Silk Company in Shelburne. So I'm going to have you hold that up. Now, I've knit one of these balls of yarn, and that's Sirdar Snuggly Baby Bamboo, and it's DK. And I love the texture that's happening, and I think when I block it, it's going to be great.
It feels wonderful.
I know. It's 80% bamboo, 20% wool, so I think it's going to be okay to wear in the summer. Just, I'm finding that work, air conditioning, oh my gosh, way too cold. So I think somehow when your neck's warm, you're warm.
Yeah.
Yes, and I really love that color. It's such a rich color of blue. And so I'm really, really pleased with that.
I think it's my color.
Well, it's your color, but it's for me. I'd already made you that other one. But anyway, I think we should get you some more of this, and then I'll make a thinner one for you.
Yeah.
This pattern would look great on you as well.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's the first one. My second work in progress is something that you've seen. It is the Paton's Metallic Spiral Cowl, but I'm not using Paton's Metallic yarn. I decided that I really liked the Sirdar Snuggly Baby Bamboo, 80% bamboo, 20% wool, and I've decided to do the other cowl with it. The people that May works with, who we gave some cowls, really liked them, and I thought, oh, I love that pattern, and this would be great. I think it's a great weight for air conditioning, once again.
Feels wonderful.
And I like the lace. It's a little bit more open.
Yeah.
So I'm on to my second ball of that. Those are 50-gram balls, and I think it's going to be just the right size.
It's a wonderful color.
Yeah.
Love that color.
And I think I'd like to do something for you like this, but half the size.
Right.
I may shorten it up a little bit, but half the size, and I think that would be nice on you as well.
Really like that.
Oh, good. Well, then
Turning out
that's
very
definitely
well.
what I'll
It'll be
do.
nice when it's finished. I like to see that.
Exactly. All right, and my last work in progress right now is called the Blueberry Waffle Socks. This is a free pattern by Sandy Turner. And the pattern itself is for DK weight yarn. And I like my socks in fingering weight yarn. And so what I'm doing is I'm using this yarn, which is amazing. We're talking about Mary Maxim. It's bamboo mosaic sock yarn, 63% acrylic, 30% bamboo, and 7% polyester.
Feels wonderful.
I love the texture of this sock. Once again, it's like the ribbed sock, so it will hold it tight. And I love the colors. This colorway is called Morning Air is what it's called. And it's so pretty and light. And so I'm really, really happy. Now, I just want to talk about knitting needles for a second. So these knitting needles that I'm using, and you can see they're all different colors. These are the Aeque flip sticks. So it's going to be difficult to see. One end is a little bit more pointed. I don't know if I can do this to show you. And then the other one is a little bit more like a ballpoint tip. So that if you're using yarn that's splitty, then you're going to want to use one end, or whichever end feels more comfortable for you. So there's 5 needles that come in this set. They're all different colors, and then you just are going to knit. And I got these at River City Yarns in Edmonton. It was a suggestion by Barb, one of the owners. And I have to tell you, thank you, Barb, because I really, really like working with them. They're really, really nice. Yes.
Glad that worked out.
Yeah. Now I just want to talk about these knitting needles as well. So this is that set of look at needle tips that I bought. I didn't buy. I was gifted them by Lynn from the Purple Sock, and I love them. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to buy a set. I think
great.
that's what I'll do. I'll make an investment and buy a set. Because I can
like
tell
them
you,
that much, did you?
I do, and this yarn is just slick enough that I prefer working on those needles to working on metal needles.
And thank you, Lynn, from the Purple Sock, to suggest those.
Exactly, that was so nice of her. So those are my 3 lovely works in progress. Hopefully they'll become finished objects by the next time we podcast, and that's it. And so next we're going to talk about our adventure.
Today our adventure took us to Paris, Ontario, a lovely little community. It only has a population of 12,310. Not a large community, but cute. It was voted the prettiest little town in Canada by Harrowsmith magazine.
Oh, it's great. It is beautiful. Yeah.
And it's also located in a spot where the Nith River empties into the Grand River in Ontario. So when you see water in the photos, that's what you're seeing.
That's right.
It was named after some nearby deposits of gypsum, which is a mineral, and that's used in plaster of Paris, and that's how Paris got saved. Now, we've driven through Paris many times to go to Niagara Falls, and we bypass it quite often, and I always associate it with Paris, France. But now I'm going to think of plaster of Paris, and I never would have thought that that's why it was
called Paris. That's really an interesting fact, yeah.
Another fact about Paris, Ontario, is we know that the telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1874. And he was from Brantford. It was invented in Brantford. But the first transmission, long distance transmission, was to Paris, Ontario.
Oh,
so
wow,
it's known
that's
for
exciting.
that also,
Yeah.
yes. It has a fair there once a year. It has lovely bike trails, and we could use some of those bike trails on some of our adventures.
Oh, that would
I'm
be
sure.
great, absolutely.
Walking trails. It has a speedway. Also, we have a famous hockey player named Wayne Gretzky, very famous in the past. His father went to Paris High School.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yes, that's another little tidbit for you. Now, while we were in Paris, we did visit 3 different stores. We visited John M. Hall, was that the name of it?
And it's called John M. Hall, the House of Quality Linens.
Yes, and it was a unique little store there, wasn't it?
It is. It's beautiful. It has all kinds of linens in it. So it has tea towels, and it has bedding, and it has nightgowns, and it has, actually they had really nice baby booties. It had specialty soaps, all kinds of things. You could spend hours and hours and hours in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like old school. You can see the history in it with the old countertops. It's over 100 years old.
Yeah, 120 years old.
Wow.
I know.
But I
it's
love
amazing.
the stuff in there. It's so
It's
interesting.
beautiful.
You could spend hours in that store.
Absolutely.
And if you want a tea towel for anything, that would be the store to go to.
That's right. And the lady we spoke to there, her name is Pam Watkins, and you can see this is a picture of a rug that she made, and it's beautiful.
She did rug hooking.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so she was lovely to talk to, had lots of things to say to us, and she was the one actually that suggested the second place that we went to visit.
So yes, when we're in there, she suggested you go to Wincy Mills. She says just around the corner, and what it is, it used to be an old Canadian Tire, and originally it was a mill. And then it was turned into a Canadian Tire, which is a hardware store here in Canada and Ontario. And then the Canadian Tire went out and they changed it back to the original mill. And so they host I would say a market there with different little things. Not all the market was open there.
When we were there. No.
Right. So you have a brochure
so
on Wincy
there's
Mills?
the picture. It's a beautiful building. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but on the other side they show how they've renovated it.
They did a great job in the renovations.
It's really
an amazing
place.
Quite nice.
And I really would love to go when the market's open. I think it would be great.
Yes, we should just go back there for the day.
Exactly.
Now, while we were there, we needed a coffee, of course, but there was no, because there's only 12,000, there was no Starbucks.
Nope.
So we went to a place called the Blue Dog. There's the Blue Dog, and we got a cup from the Blue Dog. Now, there's a story behind the Blue Dog, because I like to purge in the house, and what I do is I go around the house and I collect things that I don't think that we need anymore.
Exactly.
And
I had previously been in a cafe in Brantford called the Blue Dog Cafe, and I had picked up a mug for the Blue Dog Cafe.
Similar to this mug. Maybe a little smaller, but very similar to this mug.
Okay,
so,
continue.
So what happened was I go around the house and I purge things, and I donate them to Goodwill.
Which is lovely.
Yes, and I do a lot of donating. And so I put a box together, and one in the box I put in the Blue Dog mug, unbeknownst to me. So it wasn't about a week later, Colleen said, "Where is my Blue Dog mug? I'm looking for that's my favorite mug." I'm like, oh. So sure enough, I had donated the Blue Dog mug to the Goodwill. So
Which is fine.
Which is fine. But
because you promised me we'd get another one.
But there's no Blue Dog anywhere near us, really, in the area. And so, to both of our surprises, when we walked into the Wincy Mills, there was Blue Dog, and we both kind of looked at each other and went,
"Yay! I'm gonna get a mug."
We both knew it was going to happen. So thus the Blue Dog mug, but it was kind of a cute story.
It is a cute story.
Yes, so thank you. And also while we were there, we had a lovely time there. We went to Mary Maxim, which is in Paris also.
Absolutely.
And you had a great experience in there.
Exactly. Lots of fun shopping in Mary Maxim. Now, there are only 2 retail stores. One is in Paris, Ontario, and the other one's in London, Ontario. And I like going to the one in London, but the the one in Paris is a little bit bigger, so it had a little bit more that you could look at. Lots of interesting things. And Mary Maxim is changing things up a bit. It used to be very much that they just had their own brand of yarn, and now they're selling all different kinds of yarns.
And Mary Maxim's been around for quite a few years, so I remember as a
time.
child that there was a Mary Maxim, and my mom used to go there to shop
That's
for
right,
yarn.
yeah. And there's a tent sale a couple of times a year. Yeah, it's great.
Great. So that was our adventure. We had a wonderful day. A little cooler then than it is now because we are behind on our podcast sometimes.
Yes.
And yeah, but we had a wonderful day again, and it was fun. And
Yeah,
had some
we did
good
enjoy
folks.
ourselves, so absolutely. And next, we're going to talk about our souvenirs.
Our first souvenir today is a project bag. Now, you'll notice all the music and the pattern, but Colleen made this project bag for me for my camera, and she did an amazing job, and I love it. And my camera and all the battery and all the accoutrements fit right in there. And so I really appreciate that. I know you've made me another one like this.
Absolutely. And I knew that this fabric was straight for you. I thought, you love music, you love guitars, you love all kinds of music, so it was good.
Yeah, I dabble a little bit in the guitar, so this worked out very well, and thank you so much. What a great souvenir I have, so
That's
thank
good.
you. And we brought some other souvenirs.
All right, so when we went to John M. Hall Linens, obviously you're going to buy some linens. So you've already will have seen that first lovely little tea towel.
That was so cute, we had to get it.
It is so cute, right? And the pictures were there. So I'm not sure it's got the right texture in order to make a project bag, but we can see what we can do with that. But it's so cute anyway.
We can use it to dry dishes also.
Yes, we could. And while I was there, I had project bags on the brain, and so I picked up 3 different tea towels. So the first one is all about cats, because we know we have friends that like cats, so that's the first one.
That's cute.
Then we have bicycles.
We have friends that like bicycles.
So that's good. And then we have a tea towel with cute little goats on it.
We don't have friends that like goats. We have friends that give goats.
The tea towel is so cute that I thought that would make a great project bag. So I'm really excited about that.
The colors are wonderful in that.
Exactly.
They all feel so wonderful. They feel great.
I'm just going to give them a wash and then I'm going to work on it. They're quite a size, so I think you could make either a project bag or a notions pouch, something like that.
Can't wait to see how those are going to turn out.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Yes.
that. So that was John M. Hall Linens. And then we headed to Mary Maxim. And I'm just going to show you. Mary Maxim does a mail order thing. So here's an example of a picture from their catalog. They have all different kinds of things that you can buy, and they're really, really known for their kits. So they put a pattern together with the yarn, and then you can buy a kit. Sometimes you can change the colors of the kits. And so when I was there, I thought, well, Mary Maxim has kits, and I found a couple of kits. So the first one is called the Fat Quarter Wine Bottle Gift Bag. So I'm going to hold that up so you can see it.
And this is going to be a great thing for us, because what Colleen and I do in the Christmas time, we make wine, and so we're always looking for wine bags to give away gifts. So what Colleen and I thought we would do is get fabric that goes along with some of our friends and what they like to do, and then we could make something more personable for their wine. And
Perfect.
that. So this is going to turn out
Exactly.
nice. I can't wait to see how these are going to turn out.
So you get the pattern, and then in the kit itself, they give you the fabric. So there's one, obviously this is Christmas fabric, there's green. They also give you the interfacing, so it's quilted. And then that is going to make one of those wine holder bags. And then the plan is I'm going to use some of the fabric that I have, and I can make some more. So I thought that was a great deal. It wasn't too much money. It was actually on sale because we were there after Christmas. And so it was a great thing. And it says they have a difficulty rating. This one says it's an easy thing. So I think I'll be able to put some together.
Can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
Exactly. So the second thing I found was also a kit, and I'm going to show you the container it came in. It's called the Crescent Lace Shawlette. So that's what the box looks like. It's only this big. There, you can see us right through. Mm-hmm. That's it. And in that box came the pattern, right? And the pattern was free. It's called the Diamond Luxury Soxy Lady Crescent Lace Shawlette. So that's just the pattern itself. I won't hold it up too long because it is a paid for pattern. And then came with it a Diamond Luxury Soxy Lady. It's 400 meters. Do I know the colorway? I'm not sure. It's kind of hiding in there. Let's see. It's color 43. But I really liked it. It's got teal and purple and a little bit of a goldy stripe in it. So I think that's going to be making this lovely, great Shawlette. I'm really looking forward to.
That'll look wonderful.
Absolutely.
I just undid your skein.
You did. It's okay. I can put it back together. Remember we said it had to fit back in the box? So we're going to see how well we can do that.
We know how that works.
Exactly. So I really like this. I'm not sure I'm going to get to it right now. I may kind of hold off till September to make it. But I really liked it. The yarn itself is nice and soft. It's 60% superwash wool, 20% alpaca, and 20% nylon. So I think it's going to make a lovely Shawlette.
It will.
And I think it will be great. So that was what I did at Mary Maxim.
And this, we already talked about our souvenir that we got at
Blue Dog Cafe. Mutch.
And we got a holder too.
Excellent.
There you go.
So that is our souvenirs. We did have a great day. We went in March break. We're in education. That's when we have time to go. And so the nice thing is we were able to go. The weather was fine. We had a little walk around Paris. We really liked it. May could say I took Colleen to Paris for March break, which I like because we did. And we know what that means. Not everybody would, so that's okay. So thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind you about our knit along. So it is a Hilary Smith Callis knit along. You can knit any pattern that is a Hilary Smith Callis pattern. It can be a free pattern or a purchase pattern. It doesn't matter. It started on the 11th of May. It's going to finish on the 15th of June. There is a chatter thread in our Ravelry group, which is MC Knitting Adventures. There also is a finished objects thread, and we have some in there already, so I'm excited about that. And we've seen the prize, and we're really looking forward to being able to share your work with everybody else because it's amazing. And she makes beautiful patterns, and I'm really glad that we've decided to use hers as our first knit along. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate that. If you like what we're doing, please feel free to subscribe. That would be great.
And so until next time,
you take care.